Hello everybody. The Bible story which I've chosen to read to you today and to encourage us to think about comes from one of the last parts of St. John's Gospel, and it's a story about Jesus meeting his disciples after the resurrection. And the background to it is to remember how the last time the disciples saw Jesus was when he died on Good Friday, and we don't know how much later this was, but it must have been a bit of time later because they've gone back to work, back to fishing. And it's what follows next in this story that I love very much. And so we'll hear the story with some pictures, and then at the end I'll offer some words about why it is that I like it so much. So the story is about to come. It was some time later, and life seemed to have returned more or less to normal. And the disciples were returning back to their work as fishermen. And so it was that one day Peter said, "I'm going to go fishing." And some of his friends, some of the other disciples, about 4 or 5 of them, said, "We will come with you." And so they went out fishing on a boat just like this. They set out in the evening and had been fishing all night and had caught nothing. And then, just as day was dawning, and they weren't that far from the shore, probably 150 yards or so, they saw a stranger on the shore. And the stranger called out and said, "Children, have you any fish?" And they said, "No, we've caught nothing." And he then said to them, "Cast your net on the other side." And rather remarkably, given that they'd been fishing all night, they listened to this stranger's advice, and that's exactly what they did. They cast their net on the other side. And so they did indeed cast the net the other side of the boat, and to their amazement, it was suddenly full of every kind and variety of fish. So much so full was the net, that they struggled to haul it on board the boat because there seemed to be so many fish. And seeing so many fish suddenly around the boat, some in the net, some jumping around outside it, one of the disciples, looking at the stranger on the shore, suddenly said, "It is the Lord." And Peter, in his excitement, jumped into the sea and began to make his way, partly swimming, partly wading, towards the stranger on the shore. The others stayed in the boat, trying to haul the net in and slowly make their way in the boat towards the shore and this stranger standing on it. When they got ashore, they saw Jesus sitting by this fire. And Jesus said to them, "Come and bring some of the fish that you have just caught." So Peter went with the others back to the boat and hauled the net ashore, and there were 153 fish in the net, and yet amazingly the net was not broken. And Jesus, sitting by the charcoal fire, which already had some fish on it, said to them, "Come and have breakfast." And now none of them dared ask, "Who are you?" For they knew that it was the Lord. They knew that it was Jesus. Now there are all sorts of things in that story which I like very much. But above all, what I like is the way that Jesus is so friendly and above all so informal. I think it's just fantastic that here he is, the risen Lord, and the first thing he says to his disciples when he sees them is, "Come and have breakfast." What a fantastic thing for the risen Lord to say. And it's so surprising and amazing and just full of delight. And for me, it's probably my favourite verse in the whole Bible, "Come and have breakfast." He's got his priorities right, hasn't he? He wants to be friends. He wants to talk with people. He's not showing off how triumphant he is. He's not making scoring points over people who let him down. Peter, of course, don't forget, had betrayed him. He's not doing any of that. He's saying, "Come and have breakfast, and let's see what we can sort out as we go forward in life." Well, what an amazing picture of God that is. Jesus risen from the dead, cooking breakfast on a beach for his friends. I hope you enjoy the story as much as I do.